The drastic change in the atmosphere of the series itself, and how on the thinnest of margins these things can turn. What if Michael Jordan makes the last shot of regulation Friday night? Well, then it's 2-0 Chicago, and maybe the Blazers are just coming home to die. But he didn't, and the Blazers won by displaying the very qualities they allegedly lacked: resourcefulness, poise, and clutch play in the absence of their star, while it was the defending champs who committed the untimely errors of judgment and performance. Are the Bulls still thinking of the Jordan technical that started the unraveling? When Danny Ainge enters the game, will it bring flashbacks of the way the veteran led the unlikely comeback from 10 down with 4.5 left? In Terry Porter, will Chicago see the three-pointer that finished them in overtime and quieted their long flight to Portland? Yes, the atmosphere has changed, and now Portland is poised to seize control of a series they were nearly counted out of. For Chicago, this could be a hard week of playing uphill against Blazer Mania, with Pippen hurting, Cartwright showing his age, and even Jordan overloaded. This is the latest and sternest challenge for the world champion Chicago Bulls.
Blazers. Starting at one forward from Longwood College, Virginia, 6'7", number 25, Jerome Kersey. And the other forward from Maryland, 6'8", 52, Bob Williams. At center from Eastern Illinois, 7'00", the Duck, Kevin Duckworth. At one guard from Wisconsin, Stevens Point, 6'3", leader of the pack, number 30, Terry Porter. And at guard from Houston, 6'7", number 22, Clyde Drexler. The head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, Rick Adelman.
And now to a man who is enjoying a homecoming in this area as a one-time star running back at the University of Oregon Ducks. Let's go to Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
Marv, that is the University of Oregon Fighting Ducks. Now, once again, I visited both locker rooms. In the Portland locker room, a very loose atmosphere. Clyde Drexler told us
solve the problem. Big hand for Clyde Drexler. Game, 35 points in the first half, 39 in all, and he did it from three-point land as Chicago won convincingly. And then game number 2 in Chicago, the Bulls with that 10-point lead in the final minutes, not able to hang on, and despite the fact that Drexler went out on fouls, Danny Ainge with 17 points. The officials, Bill Oakes, Ed G. Rush, and Mike Mathis. And the call, Chicago ball, last touch by Portland.
Big concern by many people, the Bulls' ability to bounce back after the devastating loss in game number 2. Did they have enough time to get themselves straightened out in their heads and immediately go down inside low to Grant, which is one of the things that they like to do, Chicago, establish the inside game with either Cartwright or Grant early.
And we have a feeling, in visiting with Phil Jackson and some of the Bulls yesterday, that this was a down ball club. Phil mentioned emotionally down, although he tried to remain upbeat. Kersey switching off to Jordan here at the start. Here's Pippen. Scottie Pippen, who told him out earlier that the wrist is okay, was backing up on the outside shots the other day, but he went for the outside shot at the start, and the foul called on Chicago to put Kersey on the line. It's called on Pippen.
If you think back to game 2, when Jerome Kersey had been struggling, the play that got him off early was a transition dunk by Kersey, Phil in the right lane once again. Here, almost an exact similar play. This time, he goes to the free throw line for 2 opportunities.
Jerome Kersey, player who has battled through injuries to both ankles, did not have a good one last Wednesday in game 1. Came back in game 2 for 12 points and 8 rebounds. Bulls 2 and the Blazers 1. Jordan and Paxson in the backcourt. Cartwright up front with Grant and Pippen. Grant with the open shot. And Kersey with the rebound. Terry Porter had an excellent game in Chicago on Friday. Here's Duckworth, who hit that clutch shot down the stretch in regulation. Buck Williams, and it's rebounded by Grant. Cartwright going to work. So Bill Cartwright with his first field goal, and as we have mentioned throughout this series, the Bulls love to get Cartwright involved early. Duckworth getting the position. The steal by Kersey. Kersey will go back to the line. Foul committed by Horace Grant.
Grant picked up 2 quick fouls in game number 2 and eventually had to go to the bench much earlier than Phil Jackson and his staff would have liked. And if Jerome Kersey continues to get in the transition game, whether he produces it himself or for steals or as a result of running out after defensive rebounding, this is a big plus for him. We saw him open the game up with a jumper. It was an air ball. That's not his strength. His strength is he's a driving, slashing, offensive rebounding type of player.
Kersey only a 66% free throw shooter, and he's opened up hitting only 1 out of 4 from the line. The Bulls 4 and the Trailblazers 1. John Paxson provided a lift with his outside shooting in Chicago on Friday, and the call being made by Ed Rush against Portland. It's on Buck Williams.
This whole mismatch starts with a slice cut by running Grant off of Cartwright. There was a switch by Duckworth that leaves Buck Williams, who is not as big or strong as Duckworth, trying to guard Cartwright.
Drexler going to the boards. Handled by Kersey. Porter through the double team, was able to whip by, and he drew the foul.
Porter's averaging 18.5 games in the 2 previous games against Chicago. He has only 5 assists, and it's unusual when you think of a point guard having only 5 assists for 2 games, but he's one of those guys that kind of falls in the category of he's just a great guard. He can score, he can run the show. He's taken on more scoring responsibilities this season.
And he has that excellent change of pace move. He was able to beat the double team, and then he was fouled by Cartwright. And the Blazers struggling at the line, but not defensively. They've come out very aggressive. Portland leads 5-4.
Up in the passing lane defensively, that's what was missing in game 1. It came back in game 2. An aggressive Trailblazer defense.
Oh, Pippen spotting Grant. He had the open jump, but he saw Horace Grant was all alone. The Bulls lead 6-5. And the foul committed by Paxson.
An aggressive Trailblazer defense during the course of the season led to so many scores. Kersey up in the passing lane trying to deny Jordan, winds up causing the turnover, and then it leads to an easy Clyde score.
Duckworth. Nice move. Kevin Duckworth using his 7 feet, 280 pounds to bull his way on Bill Cartwright.
In talking to Duckworth prior to this game, it was very nice to see a player who has had a tough season as far as some of the criticism he received. He's so happy about the big shot he made in game number 2 to tie it down the stretch.
Here comes Drexler giving it up, but we get a whistle, a traveling violation. He gave it up, but he traveled first.
Duckworth had mentioned to us that with the game, down 2 points for Portland. Clock winding down with about 6 seconds remaining. The fact that the team went to him and he was able to produce the big shot just took his confidence level way up, and he just feels so good about it because he wants to be a main contributor. He loves it here in this city.
Well, that's what he said. He wanted to correct the perception of the statement the other day. Jordan able to stuff for his first field goal. Now, we weren't there when he reportedly said that he wanted out of Portland, but he claims that was not the case. As Drexler hits the three. And the Blazers lead by the score of 10-8. This is Duckworth speaking. He said he was asked about the tough time that he has received here in Portland, and he said, well, something to the effect, whatever happens, happens. But it did not come out that way. As I say, that's Duckworth's interpretation. Here's Porter with another beautiful move around Paxson.
That's the concern that Chicago had when Porter tries to overpower either Paxson or B.J. Armstrong. In game one, it never got to that. It was all outside perimeter shots. There we saw him turn the corner last time.
And Pippen was held by Kersey. The crowd responding with the timeout taken. Portland leading 12-8. Terry Porter doing it with the crossover. Another strong move.
Speak to this series, they had to pay special attention to him in game one when he picked up early fouls. Only 25 minutes, 7 points, 5 rebounds. In game two, 43 minutes, 14 points, the big jumper to tie it in regulation, and 8 rebounds for Kevin Duckworth.
He did struggle during the regular season. The shot was not going, and he does have that good touch. Picked it up toward the end and has had a good playoff. Portland came out, missed its first 3 shots. They've hit their last 5. They are 5 for 8 from the floor. Chicago is 4 of 9. Portland with a 12-10 lead, 6:45 to go in this opening quarter. Now Buck Williams posting up on Horace Grant. Here's Duckworth. Rebounded by Pippen. And the Bulls look to break. Jordan with the pull-up. Let's see, did Grant make contact? No, says Mike Mathis, although Terry Porter disagrees. So off the errant pass, the Bulls get it back.
As Michael Jordan came down that time and shot the jumper in transition, Porter was defending him. He just ran out, took off down the floor, basically said if it comes back to Michael, so what? That's where the long outlet look came from.
Jordan using the screen. So Cartwright with the pick, and Jordan with his second field goal has tied the game at 12.
Whether this is a long-range effect to wear Michael Jordan down or not, he's had 3 people defending him so far.
Drexler getting inside, a fast start for Clyde. He has 7 points.
And I was saying the 3 people have been Drexler, Porter, and Kersey on Michael Jordan already this basketball game.
Paxson. And that an unusual look for Paxson, angling left and then shooting to his right. Able to hit to tie the game at 14.
We're used to seeing Paxson floating to that corner all alone, knocking out the jumpers.
Out against Cartwright, his second. And the Bulls have gone over the limit. Portland only 1 of 5 from the line. Scott Williams, who has been a key factor over the first 2 games, will replace Bill Cartwright. Scott Williams, second-year player from North Carolina, has done an excellent job. In game 1, the 3 men off the bench, Scott Williams, B.J. Armstrong, Cliff Livingston, combining on a 15 of 24 shooting performance. Game 2, a different story. Phil Jackson stayed with the starters most of the way.
And actually came back with the starters at a point where the Bulls had built up a 10-point lead. Some people felt, hey, why not stay with those guys, the reserves? Instead, Phil went back to his starters, who he felt more comfortable with. Eventually, the loss obviously opens the door for criticism.
Here's Drexler. Air ball handled by Kersey gets it back again, finds Drexler, feeds Williams. It is Portland by 3.
Understanding what this Trailblazer team is about, you have to live with some of those shots, understanding they come up with second and third efforts.
Scott Williams may have gotten away with the travel. That is certainly the feeling of the crowd. He has brought the Bulls within one. Duckworth thought he was fouled. Here's Jordan, 1-on-3, and passes on the shot. Pippen, and on the switch by Duckworth, goes right at him, finding Grant. And the foul on the Blazers. It's a hold. Charge to Drexler.
You may question some of the hurried, quick perimeter shots that this team takes, but they get after it. They work at getting the ball back. It was an air ball. They got it back. It leads to a sure score inside by Buck Williams. And that's why Rick Adelman understands the mentality and what this team is about and lives with some of the shots that other guys might get a little nervous with because their athleticism will produce extra shots for them.
Oh! Grant will go to the line. Duckworth called for his first. So Horace Grant to the free throw line for the first time. Game 2 on Friday. Chicago only 17 for 26 from the foul line for 65%. Both these clubs are not good free throw shooting teams. And Portland has opened up, having their problems. 2 of 7 from the line.
Cliff Robinson checking in.
Cliff Robinson will replace Jerome Kersey. Grant trying to break the tie. 4:22 left, first quarter. Some pressure here by Chicago.
But not the real aggressive. This is the token press they use just to use up a little time on the 24-second clock.
Duckworth, Robinson, and Williams now up front. Porter and Drexler at the guards. Nice play by Pippen, stripping Robinson. 3-on-2. Pippen all the way. The Bulls 20. The Trailblazers 17. Duckworth set the pick and roll. Yes.
Same shot he hit to tie the game at the end of regulation. The same man rotating over, trying to block it. Grant got there a little bit late in game 2. That time was closer, but still, nice jumper that time by Kevin.
And John Paxson buries another jump shot. Paxson 16 points on Friday night, 4 of 7 from three-point land. Robinson works his way in, rechecked it by Williams. Scott Williams thought he was fouled. But a good hustle play by Williams.
Well, rotating over from the weak side of the floor or the offside away from the ball, Williams comes over and saves another layup opportunity. The Bulls defense does an excellent job of covering for one another. He just doesn't happen to agree.
Jordan with the steal and then flips it out to Grant. Horace Grant able to hit, and he drew the foul. What a pretty pass tossed by Jordan to ignite the break.
So much of the Bulls offense comes as a result of excellent defense. In game number 2, they produced only 5 steals overall. Jordan, without even looking, understands that he's got big men that can run the floor. He got Grant finishing, and just in case he misses, Scott Williams there to follow back up.
The crowd responding to the entrance of Danny Ainge, one of the Portland heroes. On Friday night, Kevin Duckworth, who played well, will sit down, leaves with 5 points. 9 points in overtime, tying a finals overtime record that was held by Bill Laimbeer and John Havlicek. On the subject of Laimbeer, Michael Jordan, who tied the three-point field goal shooting record for an NBA Finals game on Wednesday night with 6. When told he tied Laimbeer, said had he known that, he would have gone for the record. Drexler with a nice feed for Robinson.
Portland has a very small unit on the floor. When they went to this three-guard setup in game number 2, it was very productive. They had a good, quick run against the Bulls, picked up some transition scores.
Blazers down by 6 off a 11-2 run by Chicago. With the 3, Danny Ainge off the bench, able to hit from downtown, and Chicago is called for time. And 1986.
Ainge shooting 1 for 5 from the three-point line after the first 2 games during the season, a 34% three-point shooter.
Michael Jordan beginning to heat up. That's his 3rd field goal. He has 6, and the Bulls lead 27-22.
Usage of timeouts by coaches. A little run by Portland. Phil takes the timeout. They come out, set up. Jordan knocks out the J, takes the crowd out of it, settles everything.
Oh, beautifully done. Robinson with the perfectly timed pass for Drexler.
Well, the one thing the timeout does do, give the other team a chance to draw up something that might work for them as well.
Portland trailing by 3, 1:45 remaining first quarter. They double up on Pippen. Williams had it knocked away, able to recover, finds Jordan. A broken play that the Bulls were able to click on through some good fortune.
And Scott Williams, when he got up in the air, didn't know whether to kick out left high, kick low right, or then decided the best thing, let me find Michael.
Drexler throwing the air ball. Chicago by 5. Jordan with a beautiful pass. Pippen was fouled.
Let's go back a moment ago. After the timeout, Chicago scored, but you know what? Rick Adelman was drawing up something special also, the lob pass to Clyde Drexler. And then Scott Williams finds himself in the unusual position of decision-making. Well, I'm not quite sure that's what he wanted to happen, but what did happen was very nice for Chicago.
Cliff Robinson called for the foul. Scottie Pippen, 2 of 2 from the line. So Chicago has opened up by hitting its first 6 free throws. 1:11 remaining. First quarter, the scene shifting to the Memorial Coliseum in Portland, Oregon. The usual capacity crowd, 12,888 on hand, the 601st consecutive sellout. Ainge for 3. Rebounded in aggressive fashion by Scott Williams.
It looks like Michael almost was inviting that. Didn't run real hard at Danny Ainge. Kind of said, well, let me see if you can knock out another one from behind the three-point line.
Bulls by 6. Jordan changed his mind. Horace Grant off to the fast start. He has 11. Some beautiful passing here in the first quarter by Michael Jordan.
And you really have to know your teammates and have confidence that time. If Jordan doesn't believe his teammate's going to roll to the basket, he can't elevate, hang, and then at the last minute drop it down. He has to believe right here that Grant's going to make the roll. The last second he drops it off after drawing the double team.
And Buck Williams to the line, fouled by Scott Williams. Buck Williams had a very strong game on Friday in Chicago. Came back in aggressive fashion after getting in the early foul trouble in game 1.
Bobby Hansen checks in for the Bulls.
19 points, 14 rebounds for Buck.
It all starts with minutes on the floor. If you're in early foul trouble, you can't have a lot of minutes on the floor. But if you stay away from the fouls, particularly early in the game, get into the flow, then a guy like Buck who works so hard, he's going to have good numbers at the end of the game.
And Bobby Hansen has checked in, replacing Michael Jordan. Jordan sits down with 8 points, 3 assists. Bobby Hansen hit a three-pointer in the midst of that John Paxson three-point show the other night. And he has been getting the minutes in this series. Hansen and Armstrong now in the backcourt. Grant with Pippen and Williams up front. Chicago with a 6-point lead. Shot clock at 4. Here's Pippen. strong move by Scottie Pippen, who has looked sharp in this first quarter.
Great move by Pippen because he passed the ball from about 25 feet out. Then it was a pass and go. Move without it.
Final seconds of the quarter. Robinson with another air ball, and that is the end of the first. Here in Portland, the Bulls 34 and the Blazers 26.
Smart basketball. Pippen had moved without it after he passed it. Then it's a matter of just going to the basket, getting it back, and the left-handed conversion by Scottie Pippen, the bad wrist. Now, Marv.
All right, Ahman, it was during the course of that series against the Knicks where it looked like at times Michael Jordan was worn down, lost his legs. He did go through a series of injuries, and then in the series against Cleveland, he had the congestion problem, fighting off a cold, touch of the flu, but he's been strong the last week, although, as Ahman just pointed out, he was tired in Game 2 on Friday night, and that obviously is the case here again.
Well, he played 50 minutes in game number 2, and as Michael himself mentioned, in fact, on Inside Stuff yesterday, it's the other things, not just the basketball, that wear you down. It's all the other things pulling on you, particularly in the finals, the championship series, that mental fatigue that catches up with you.
Second quarter underway, and off the scramble, a kick ball called on Scott Williams. So the ball goes back to Portland, and they get a new 24. Rick Adelman has Danny Ainge and Enos Watley now in the backcourt. Clyde Drexler moves up front, being guarded by Scottie Pippen. Jerome Kersey is back. Cliff Robinson also on the floor. Kersey for Robinson. Has not been hitting the outside shot. In fact, has been way off.
You know what I find unusual? In game 1, Portland scores 30 points at Chicago. Game 2, they scored 31 points at Chicago in the first quarter. Here at home for the first time, 26 points. So the Bulls defense did a good job digging in the first quarter.
And Drexler comes out of the pack. Watley rejected by Williams. That's his second block.
And it's another time we see Williams coming from the off side of the floor to help a teammate out. He does that so well, anticipating when he might be needed.
Pippen using the screen. And a loose ball foul called on Portland. It's on Kersey, his second.
Team defense starts with an understanding of when someone needs help. Right there, Watley getting set to shoot it over the top of a smaller B.J. Armstrong. The big guy, Williams, over for the block.
Early second quarter, and the Bulls lead 34-26. Scottie Pippen. Pippen has 9 points. The high man is Grant with 11. Drexler leading Portland with 9. The Blazers have missed their last 5 field goal attempts. Watley wide open. And a loose ball foul against Chicago.
You have double duty coming up right now for Pippen, because with this unit on the floor, he's the one that they will rely on, Chicago, to create and get shots for other people. Williams, Grant, they'll do it off the offensive boards. As far as B.J. and Hanson, they have to spot up. But now he's also guarding Drexler, so double duty fatigue factor here for Pippen of concern.
A push-off called on Drexler as he was angling for position with Pippen. That's the second committed by Clyde.
And Pippen took away the post up by Drexler, came around and got in front, fronted the low post. As a result, when the lob pass took place, Mike Matthews saw the shove or push-off by Drexler.
Armstrong and Hanson are at the guards. Grant with Pippen and Williams
Illegal
up
defense.
front.
There it is, right there. They caught it underneath. Eddie Rush saw the illegal defense. The roll by Grant to the basket brought 2 defenders. He did not have the basketball. You can't double team a man without the ball.
Timeout taken. The Bulls lead. And they have not shot well. Only 10 of 24. Clyde Drexler sitting down now after picking up his second foul. Clyde has shot well, 4 of 6 for 9 points. While Chicago, 15 of 25, 60% shooting. Mike Michael Jordan sitting out these opening minutes of the second quarter. Bulls go to the weave, and then Pippen off the mark, but it's tipped and missed by Williams. And the officials checking it out. Mike Matthews says last touch by the Blazers.
Did they pull out something from the past, the three-man weave? Yes, they did. And what it does is, it's unusual. Teams don't see it a whole lot, and it forces jump switches, which in turn produce a lot of mismatches. All of a sudden, the big guy's guarding the small guy. He can't play him off the dribble.
And that was deflected out. Chicago with 17 on the 24. A 10-point Chicago advantage, their biggest lead of the game. Cartwright, yes. And a very nice setup from Pippen.
And a different way of creating. Instead of being out in front with the ball or on the wing with the ball, that time he got it down to the low post. Just took his time, picked out the open man, who was Cartwright.
Well, the Blazers have now missed their last 7 shots. And it will be Chicago possession. Pippen whipping by Kersey, and he drew the foul.
That's an unusual shot, meaning that normally Chicago doesn't take those hurried, quick shots. But when the initial pass took place to Pippen, the defensive player lunging for the steal missed. Pippen saw the opportunity, and that's what you talk about when you say decision-making process. Do you take it, try and be aggressive and get a quick score, or do you just pull it back out and let the defense catch up? Coaches understand which players have the ability to make good decisions. They live and die with those guys.
Scottie Pippen is now 4 of 5 from the line, 10 points. Michael Jordan, who, as Ahmad related to us earlier, has been on the tired side. Similar situation to what took place in the overtime game on Friday, and he has been sitting out since the end of the first quarter. He sat down with 29 seconds remaining in the first. So for Michael, this is an extended rest period, and obviously it has not hurt the Bulls.
Something similar we saw with Portland the other night when Drexel went out. The other guys step up their performance and play a little bit better at that time.
Now, you see Phil Jackson facing questions the way Rick Adelman did. Now, let's see now. Are you better off without Michael Jordan?
Will you use him again in the stretch run of a close game?
It is an 8-0 advantage since Jordan sat down. Hanson. Williams missed the tip, and Porter comes away with it. Robinson. Duckworth. Tipped by Robinson. Cliff Robinson had missed his first 6 field goal attempts. Finally able to hit. A 20-second timeout taken by the Bulls. The Bulls lead 40-28.
Well, big, wide body Kevin Duckworth on the glass clears a little more room for himself by shoving that shoulder in there, and then as it rolls off the rim, the live, active body of Robinson.
Startling to see when he does well, the Bulls win. In effect, they need the combination of Pippen with Jordan. But check it out, in the 12 wins, he shoots 51%, averages 21 per game, and the 6 losses, look at the figures on the left-hand side.
Can be deceiving at times, but there's no question that when the 2 players are in sync and functioning well together, it makes this Chicago Bulls team that much better. Takes them to a completely different level.
That is number 3 on Duckworth. And Buck Williams will come on.
And this has been a problem for Duckworth. Right there, he takes a foul, which he doesn't need, away from the basketball on a simple cut by Bill Cartwright. Yeah, you want to body your people up, but when you have 2 and you know the team needs you in there, you can't pick up what you would call a silly foul, an unnecessary foul. It wasn't trying to stop a layup or anything. Portland needs him on the floor.
The Trailblazers have gone into a funk here in the second quarter. Michael Jordan is back, and the Bulls continue to get to every loose ball. Porter thought he was pushed by Pippen. Pippen for Grant. And the Bulls now lead 42-28. Harry Porter continues the discussion with Mike Mathens as he heads to the front court. Buck Williams. Oh, he forced that shot. He did not have position. Here's Jordan at the open floor. Ainge played him well. Armstrong. And it's rebounded by Kersey. Blazers wanted to run, but the Bulls got back on the transition. Ainge met by Jordan, finding Porter. Chicago leads by 12 points.
Just a little brush cut that time. A high post man. Porter ran his guy off. The guy happened to be B.J. Armstrong. Produced an easy score.
Foul committed by Ainge. That's his first. And a timeout is called with 6:33 to go in the first half.
A humble secretary.
Club on. They are down 42-30. 6.5 remaining. Second quarter. Cliff Levingston has come on for the first time. Cartwright with a beautiful fake to draw the foul on Robinson. He had Cliff Robinson committed to the move.
Cartwright normally goes with his first move. Defensive players know that. So Robinson, anticipating he's going to go up right there, leaves his feet, then just tries to stop the easy layup by committing the foul.
Cliff Robinson hit with his second foul. Bill Cartwright missed the first 17 games of the season with a broken left hand. He's a player who's made it back from a broken foot injury. That sidelined him for 2 years when he was a member of the New York Knicks. And he said that he might need an operation on his knees after this season if the pain does not go away. Cartwright way off from the line. He did shoot well at the line the other night.
A key statistic here, I think, for Portland is the assist column. In game 1, Portland had only 16 assists. In game 2, 27. When you're passing, playing unselfishly, getting high percentage shots, you shoot well. When you're not doing that, taking too many perimeter shots or going solo one-on-one, you don't pick up those assists. Right now in this game, a 15-7 advantage for Chicago in the assist column. Going into this game, 72-43 assists in favor of the Bulls.
That foul called on Grant. Robinson being played by Cartwright. Kersey guarded by Livingston. A lot of dribbling, not much happening for the Blazers, and they turn it over.
Exactly right. See, there he is. He's telling him, move, movement. Rick Adelman sees it. You can feel it. Too much one-on-one stuff, holding the ball too long. Chicago's offense is predicated on read the defense. If you don't have it, get rid of the basketball, except if you're Michael and want to make something happen off the dribble.
Trying to set a pick. Drexler able to brush by Armstrong. B.J. Armstrong with his first field goal.
A great example right there. That ball changed sides of the floor twice, got taken to the baseline, got kicked back out to the top of the circle, and then an open jump shot gets knocked down. Obviously, if you make shots, it helps.
And the Blazers are not making their shots. Loose ball foul against Portland. That's 3 on Kersey, and suddenly Portland in severe foul difficulty. 3 on Kersey, 3 on Duckworth. Drexler has 2, as does Robinson.
And right after the whistle blew, Kersey started to react, and we showed Rick Adelman, the coach, kind of saying to Jerome, relax, settle down, don't say anything, just stay right in the game. It's not the time to start exploding just because we're down a few points on the scoreboard.
And Kersey will sit down. The Trailblazers have not been hit with a technical thus far in this NBA Finals series. Back in Game 4 against Utah, they were hit with 6 technical fouls. 1 was for an illegal defense. Utah shot 55 free throws. Clyde Drexler receiving 2 technicals, an automatic ejection. And Portland has had the reputation of blowing up, losing their cool, so Rick Adelman trying to keep things calm. It's a 15-point Chicago lead, their biggest lead of the game. And the foul on Armstrong, it is a block.
one of those hairline calls because it comes so quickly. The decision, guessing here by BJ, he thinks he's going right. He guesses right, but in the official's opinion, he did not have his feet planted or set. Therefore, the block is called.
Blazers only 2 of 11 from the field here in the second. Drexler, and he drew the foul. Well, Jordan with the gamble went for the steal, and then he did receive the help from Cartwright. And Cartwright is called for his third.
Well, the covering up for one another. Cartwright saw that Jordan was going to go for the steal, immediately leaves his man, comes over, and said, no, you can't have an easy score. I've got to contest that and try and block it.
And Scott Williams replaces Bill Cartwright. It's been another solid outing for Scott Williams. A couple of block shots, 4 rebounds. 10th point for Clyde Drexler. The Bulls 45, the Trailblazers 32. They isolate Jordan on Drexler. Armstrong, and a loose ball foul on the Bulls. Horace Grant sent Danny Ainge flying.
That time, in an effort to get on the offensive board, Horace Grant a little bit too excited. The push off right there. Just move Ainge out of the way if you want to get the ball. But unfortunately, the official had a real good look.
3 apiece now on Grant and Cartwright. Kersey and Duckworth each have 3, and Phil Jackson goes to his bench. Scottie Pippen has been resting for a while, as has John Paxson, so they will come on. And Armstrong and Grant will sit down.
Talk about role players and the appreciation. And in fact, Johnny Bach, the assistant coach from Chicago, calls Grant his warrior. Consistency, averaging 10.5 rebounds against Portland thus far, shooting 64% from the floor and 10.5 points per game. Just a very, very steady, reliable kind of guy. And he understands what his job is with his team. That's why they're successful.
Chicago by 11. And the crowd trying to get the Blazers back into it. Williams rebounded by Robinson. Ainge looking for a cutting Buck Williams, had it broken up.
And it was a nice move because Clyde Drexler was running the same left lane as Buck, and Ainge held it, eye contact, told Drexler, keep going, go through, go underneath the basket and get in the right corner, and that opened it up for the look to Buck. Unfortunately, the defensive player got a hand on it.
4 minutes to go in this first half. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Ahmad Rashad. Later on at halftime, will be joined by Bob Costas and Quinn Buckner. Here's Robinson, and he is fouled.
Right now, the 2 players talking it out. Livingston and Williams saying, wait a minute, who's going to jump out in the corner and get him on that last play? They both started to go. They both started to come back. Then the ball was on the floor, and they both went after the dribbler, so they're just trying to communicate and decide how they're going to play that particular play.
Foul was committed by Cliff Livingston, and Cliff Robinson was not a good free throw shooter with the line for the first time.
You know, in basketball, you have to have one guy that is willing to give up quickly in the argument. If you have 2 guys that like to debate too long, play goes on. No one settled anything.
Robinson, with only his 3rd point, he's 1 of 8 from the field.
Chicago anticipating a little double team action here by Portland. They're being very cautious with the way they bring the basketball up the floor.
Scottie Pippen extends to a 47-35 lead. Pippen has 13. He's the high man. Robinson Rebounded by Scott Williams.
Scott Williams is big, he's strong, he has great position and very, very good hands. And you feel secure when he goes up that he's going to come down with it.
And a foul on Ainge. Called for a push.
In the last game, the mismatch was Livingston on Ainge. Chicago tried to go to it. Here, with Ainge matched up against Pippen, they're gambling on the fact that Scotty won't be able to get him down low in the post area. They're gambling on the fact that he'll stay outside. But Pippen working hard, backs him down, and Danny, as we know for years, one of the great actors in the NBA. The facial expressions, the flops on the floor, the look, the expression.
Danny Ainge spent 7 years with the Boston Celtics on 2 championship teams, then on to Sacramento. This is second season with Portland. A high school star in Eugene, Oregon, who has come home to Portland. Last touched by the ball. No, a loose ball foul on Scott Williams. That is his third.
Scott Williams kind of chuckling because he felt it just should have been make the call, give the ball to the other team. Instead, the foul call, some point opportunities. Free throw line is so hard to make the calls because the bodies are so close to start out with. Williams working hard, getting squeezed by Drexler and Buck at the same time. And the foul call, Williams a little bit too aggressive trying to go after him.
So Buck Williams, 2 of 2 from the line. The other night we talked about how far he has come in his free throw shooting proficiency, now up to 75%. 3-time All-Star, member of the NBA's all-defensive squad, twice Rookie of the Year out of the University of Maryland back in '82, and a member of the 1980 U.S. Olympic team. Buck Williams, who spent 8 years with the New Jersey Nets, wired the deal for Sam Bowie 3 years back. Stacey King has come on for the first time, replacing Scott Williams. Bulls by 11 with just under 3 remaining in the half. Michael Jordan. Yes, 10 points for Jordan. It's been a very low-key first half. He's hit 5 of 8 from the field.
For some reason, I still think Portland realizes he's out there on the floor. There's something about his presence.
Yes, they are well aware of number 23 as he sends Drexler backpedaling. Clyde has played him well here in this first half. Now Pippen try to back Ainge. Shot clock at 2. Jordan for 3. Rebound King. Stacey King hitting on the follow to give the Bulls a 52-37 lead. And Rick Adelman calls for time.
A tough assignment for Jordan. Get the ball thrown to you with 2 seconds left on the 24 and have to shoot a 3-pointer with Drexler extending out defensively.
And Portland, and he whipped by Ahmad. And funny thing happened. Shattering the backboard.
Is that all
the
you
subject of Ahmad. And Shaquille. Let's go to Ahmad, who has his one-on-one partner alongside him.
All right, Marv, you know, the score when we played was 1-1, so Shaquille has come all the way up here trying to finish that game. You're looking for me, right?
Ahmad is lying. The score was 5-1 when I ripped the backboard down. The score was 5-1. Don't lie, don't lie. Don't lie. The score was 5-1.
We do have more baskets in Portland. We can finish this up.
It don't matter to me.
We'll do that later, Marv. I'll keep you updated on what the outcome is.
5-1, remember that.
Oh, coming up at halftime, Shaquille will join Bob Costas, and you'll hear more about probably our one-on-one game, huh? All right, Marv.
I'm certain that is on Shaquille's mind. The All-American out of LSU, Shaquille O'Neal, who is all but a lock to be the #1 pick in the June 24th NBA draft. The draft, by the way, will be held right here in the Coliseum. In fact, Michael Jordan came up limping.
Jordan coming down right here is where he winds up. Right there, steps on Buck Williams' ankle as the ball goes out of bounds.
A minute 40 remaining in this first half. Drexler for 3. Clyde Drexler hitting his second 3-pointer, and the Chicago lead is now 12. Stacey King to the post-up move. And rejected and fouled by Buck Williams.
It's almost like for a split second, Buck Williams forgot that Stacey King is a left-hander. If you give him that baseline, it's his strength. He lets him turn and go that way, anticipating he's going to come back to the middle. But Stacey, the left-hander, goes for the score, and then Buck felt he had pinned it to the backboard. The body contact is what was called.
Second on Buck. Stacey King in his third season out of Oklahoma. He was a lottery selection, a number 6 pick. On the disappointing side, his first 2 years had a couple of incidents with the coaching staff, and most significance, walked out of practice. 1 point last year, suspended by the team, and has not been in the regular rotation this season. In fact, Scott Williams, who has played very well, passed him by. Here's Ames. Yes. So the Chicago lead, once 15, is now 10 with 1 minute left in the half.
Well, to show you how good the defense has been for Chicago, without those last 5 points, they have 37 points.
To the drive, and he'll go to the foul line. A sudden burst by the Blazers, who have been struggling in the second quarter. At one point, they had hit only 2 of 15 shots. Danny Ainge will go to the line. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, Bob Costas and Quinn Buckner will have a look at the U.S. Olympic basketball team. And as I mentioned, they'll be joined by Shaquille O'Neal. That's Bob and Quinn at halftime. Danny Ainge once again providing a lift off the bench. 3 of 3 from the line, 8 points in all.
When Chicago is running the clock down to get the last shot of the quarter as the free throw is missed, they use one of 2 sets, an open spread set or a high pick and roll.
Jordan, yes. 12 for Michael Jordan.
What they just did is they ran a 2-for-1. They tried to get a quick shot in a hurry so that when Portland comes back and shoots, if they can secure the defensive rebound, they will get 1 more shot attempt. There's about 4 or 5 seconds differential between game clock and shot clock.
Ainge passed on the 3. Here's Drexler. Good feed from Williams.
Violation. Stepping over the line that time, Stacey King hurrying to get the ball inbounds, wanted to throw it deep around the half-court line. At the last second, the defensive man for Portland shot the gap. He tried to pull it back, but he stepped over the baseline. A critical turnover at this point for Chicago.
9 1/10 seconds remaining. First half. Quarter. Final seconds. Pippen got it off. Good finish to the second quarter for the Trailblazers. They conclude with an 8-2 run. Michael Jordan, 6 of 10, 12 points. Clyde Drexler, 6 of 8 for 16 points. So at halftime, it's the Chicago Bulls leading the Portland Trailblazers 54-45. Coming up, the halftime report with Bob and Quinn. We'll be back in Portland in a moment.
Olympic qualifying tournament. With the recent addition of Drexler and Duke's Christian Laettner, the Olympic roster is set, and the waiting will soon be over.
All right, here's Bird. Drexler all over him. He fires. It's a three-pointer.
They're blessed with size, speed, and power. They're the best shooters, rebounders, and passers the USA has to offer. 11 NBA players and 1 collegian. A collection of talent that staggers the imagination.
The competition in the Olympics is so exciting because it's the top level in the world, and it's just a great honor. I think people can't really understand it until they feel like they're the one person representing a whole country, and every time people look at you, that's what they see of the United States. So it's a thrill.
Every year you can win some basketball games or you can win. You have a chance every year, but the Olympics only come along every 4 years. That's why it's so magnified. And then to get a chance to represent your country, but it magnifies it more.
You see the players go out there and they compete for the United States, and you see them win the gold and standing up on that platform and watching the flag being raised up and the national anthem being played. Anybody that doesn't dream that someday that could happen to them isn't paying very close attention, because it's a thrill.
This is going to be totally different just from playing for the city of Chicago, but when the time comes, I know it's going to be probably the greatest moment in my life.
For some, a gold medal would cap a fabulous career. For others, like Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin, and Michael Jordan, it's a chance to strive again for Olympic glory.
When I got the opportunity to play in the Olympics when I was in college, the dream started to come a little bit closer to reality a little bit. And when I made the team, it was a real fulfilled dream, and I just wanted to cherish it. And now I get to do it twice, and very rare people get the opportunity to do something twice of this stature.
I always thought it would be nice to play on the Olympic team, and that's when only the amateurs were allowed to participate. I thought it would have been a great opportunity. And now to get this chance as a professional, it doesn't get any better.
There's going to be a group of guys that are very focused and going over and getting the job done, and Americans are very proud to be considered the basketball country. And I think it's up to us now to go over and show the rest of the world that we are #1 in basketball.
It's a true world championship. You know, when you win that gold medal, you've defeated everyone.
Whenever you put that USA uniform on, we're not talking about a silver or a bronze, we're talking about the gold. So it's added pressure, but it's a good added pressure that we look forward to.
Right now, it's Drexler versus Jordan for the NBA title, but their debut as teammates is just around the corner.
Let the games begin.
Yeah, Quinn Buckner was a member of Dean Smith's squad in 1976, took the gold medal in Montreal. You've been following this pretty closely, and with an eye this time on David Robinson's condition.
That's right, Bob. And with David Robinson hurt his left thumb. He tore the ligaments in it at the base of the thumb. They've already looked at it. He's had the surgery, been in rehabilitation for a month. He's scheduled to play in a game today down in San Antonio. Talked to General Manager Bob Bass. They expect he'll be all right to play in the Olympics. Larry Bird, I tell you what, he kind of got a bit of a break by coming out of the playoffs short in terms of the Celtics. I'm sure they don't like that, but for Larry Bird, that gives him a chance to rest his back. His back should be fine. He will play.
Okay, thanks, Quinn. One other quick item here.
14 points. Good first half for Horace Grant. 13. Michael Jordan 6 for 10, 12 points. And Clyde Drexler leading the way with 16 for Portland.
And if you are Chicago right now, you're very happy with the distribution. 10 players played in the first half for the Bulls. 3 players shared in the shot distribution. 10 shots for Jordan, 9 for Pippen, 8 for Grant. And those 3 guys, by the way, all in double figures. Only 1 player, Drexler, in double figures for the Trailblazers.
Portland shot only 5 of 17 in the second quarter. Duckworth, Kevin Duckworth, playing with 3 fouls, as is Jerome Kersey. Jerome Kersey had an invisible first half. 0 for 2 from the field. Got himself in early foul trouble.
Well, these first couple of minutes now are going to be very important for both of these teams. This is a very hot building. The temperature inside is very high. A fatigue factor, concentration factor, as Cartwright eventually knocks down the shot. But the concentration factor coming out of the locker room, it's very humid, very warm, and a tendency here to kind of fade out of it by players that don't really focus in.
Pippen got a piece of it. It is unusually warm here, although not the case in the corridors back by the dressing room where you can feel the air conditioning. Blazers turn it over. So it's Chicago ball. They open up with Cartwright, Pippen, and Grant on the front line. Paxson and Jordan in the backcourt.
That's the 9th turnover for the Portland Trailblazers. They had 9 turnovers altogether in game 2, counting regulation and overtime.
Cartwright rebounded by Jordan, and he was fouled. Buck Williams and Jerome Kersey converging. Williams called for his 3rd, and again, Michael Jordan comes up hobbling.
Well, earlier in the game, he had stepped on Buck Williams' ankle, and now here, as he fights for the offensive rebound, again, coming down, and those players on the other team just keep sticking their feet underneath Michael when he goes up.
Minute and a half gone by in the third. Grant from Cartwright. And Duckworth off the board. Here's Porter leading Drexler. Chicago 56, Portland 49. Jordan for Cartwright did not hold on. Buck Williams. Scottie Pippen with his 8th rebound. The Bulls have led by as many as 15. Portland has had a couple of very difficult stretches. At one point, they missed 7 straight shots. And then in the second quarter, at one stretch, they managed only 2 field goals in 15 attempts. Kersey, it's a wild shot. He went to a third option. He felt he was fouled. You can hear the reaction from the crowd.
Jerome Kersey just trying to find any way to score points to get himself going in the offensive end of the floor for Portland.
And Grant called for the travel.
A few moments ago for Portland, the eye contact. Porter knows that Drexler's streaking down the other end of the floor. Then it's a matter of laying it up there, and Clyde's going to get it for you.
Kersey. Duckworth gets the new 24. Drexler for 3. And Cartwright rebounds. Paxson wide open. Drexler for Kersey. A 14-4 run by the Blazers. And Phil Jackson calls for time.
He is me. You got to see that's how I dream to be. A dream I move. A dream I grew. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. I'm gonna be like Mike. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Be like Mike. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike.
Looking for the basketball, referring back to the pass that Michael Jordan tried to throw him. It was a no-look pass, hit him in the hands, and sometimes the players aren't ready, anticipating that it might come. Bill just trying to remind Big Bill, be a receiver, look for it.
Well, the Bulls have hit only 1 of 6 from the floor here in the third quarter. Blazers on a 14-4 run. Michael Jordan is 7 of 11. He has 14. Chicago leads by 7.
Well, 4 minutes had gone by in this quarter. Jordan had taken no shots, so that's how the game going.
Clyde Drexler with 20 points on 8 of 11 shooting. It's a 5-point Chicago lead. They have led by as many as 15. Jordan from deep. Shot clock at 6. Drexler hits the floor hard, but he's all right. Foul committed by Pippen. That's his second. The sounds and sights of NBA action. Duckworth rolling in. The Blazers within 3. Chicago, 2 of 8 from the field here in the third, while the Blazers are coming on. Drexler had it knocked away, but he touched it last.
Well, the fans thought that it was the reaching by Pippen that knocked it away. The officials thought it was the pullback dribble reverse right there by Drexler that lost the ball. Last contact by Drexler.
Shot clock at 5. Jordan. Michael Jordan going right at Buck Williams, who tried to provide the help.
Well, Michael Jordan's averaged 5 free throws a game. The steal by Chicago. Pippen leading the break.
But lost possession.
I was saying Michael Jordan's averaging 5 free throws a game. At halftime, he had no free throw attempts. It's when he takes it to the basket that he gets the opportunities.
And a technical foul called on Phil Jackson. Had some words in the direction of Bill Oakes, who hit him at the tee.
Going into the games, coaches know what crews are working the games and what you can get away with and not get away with different people on the floor. Earlier in the game, we have referred to the fact that Rick Adelman told Jerome Kersey, settle down, knowing that there are a couple of officials in this crew that have a reputation for giving some quick technical fouls. So you try and make your players aware of it. The complaint is right there. Who did the basketball go off of? Was it off of Pippen? Was it off of Kersey? Was it a foul? No foul. Phil trying to wonder what's going on. The technical is being called by Billy Oakes, saying he is out of the coaching box. He had crossed over the 28-foot line.
The Trailblazers turning it around off a 19-8 run that carries back to the second quarter. They are down by only 4. Just under 6 minutes to go in the third. And now the call against Portland. Offensive foul on Duckworth. That is his 4th. And Cliff Robinson will check back in. Kevin Duckworth sitting down. 9 points for Duckworth. Paxson handling against Porter. Pippen played by Kersey. Cartwright over Robinson. Rebounded by Williams. Robinson to the open floor, trying to give it back. Recovered by Drexler. Here's Jordan. Wide open basketball. Porter puts the move on. Offensive foul.
Rick Adelman have a hard time understanding how an offensive foul can be called on a clear path to the basket. He turns the corner, Porter. Now as he starts to go up, Mike Mathis feels that Porter jumps into Mike Mathis, the official who made the call on the baseline, felt that Porter jumped into the defensive player, initiating the contact.
Here's Pippen. Scottie Pippen getting excellent position, extends to a 62-56 Chicago lead. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the third. Drexler hitting the bottom of the net, but it's rescued by Porter. Here's Kersey. Yes. Only his second field goal. Jerome Kersey has come a long way with the outside shot, although we have not seen it this series. Jerome Kersey, throughout the summer, took 500 jump shots a day, and the improvement did show up. Michael Jordan with 18 points. The Bulls lead 64-58.
It's something that if you work at it, you're going to get better at it. Get your techniques down, then go out and do it and spend a lot of time at it. A small forward in the NBA, the 3 spot as they call it, needs to have the perimeter game to complement the other parts of it.
Robinson passing up the shots. He's only 1 for 9. Drexler to the scoop. Jordan changed his mind, and Grant was fouled by Robinson. Good look once again by Michael Jordan.
Jordan knows where all the players are on the floor, has that peripheral vision, keeps his eyes on the front of the rim, knows right, knows left, elevates, gets a look, and then makes a right decision.
Timeout taken by the Blazers. Following question, test your NBA IQ. Which game 2 plays the dumb play? The clutch jumper by Duckworth, the overtime three-pointer by Terry Porter, Danny Ainge, slashing drive, or D, was it Michael Jordan's momentum swinging technical in the fourth quarter? So they are certainly striking back here in Portland.
How much time do I have to answer that question?
Horace Grant to the free throw line. 3:36 remaining, third quarter, and the Bulls by 6.
It's the first time I've quieted you down in 2 seasons.
Czar, take as much time as you need. Bulls by 7. Pressure being shown here by Chicago. Drexler with the step. And the Blazers turn it over.
And here's the 2 sides of that. The Blazers said, we want them to press us. We're going to attack because we can score against it. But if you turn it over like that, you're playing into Chicago's hands. The hurriedness forced another turnover.
And Jordan hit on the way up by Drexler. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, Marv, here is my best Willard Scott impression. You've been talking about the heat in here. It is 75 degrees outside, beautiful. The upper level here in this Portland Coliseum is 95 degrees, and at courtside it's 82 degrees.
Yes, we are feeling it. It is sizzling here at the Memorial Coliseum. That was a non-shooting foul called on Drexler. Grant got the position, and he's given the Bulls a 67-58 lead.
Well, the double team came quickly to try and help Ainge out by Portland, but then Chicago had their patterns down, their roots down, went to their right spots. It worked.
Very compassionate move by the official, Bill Oakes. After Ainge lost it out of bounds, he kicked at the ball. It lands in the stands. That normally would be a technical foul. Phil Jackson looking for the tee. Watch this now. Well, Oakes said, okay, I understand. And Phil was upset that a technical was not called.
Technical or a delay a game called. One of the two is what Phil Jackson wanted. Ainge told Billy Oakes, look, I was just trying to flip it up to you with my foot. I got a little carried away, a little too much energy right now.
Jordan rebounded by Williams. .2:20 left in the third. Portland with the ball down by 9. Drexler for 3. Drexler's hit a couple from three-point range.
And I was watching Buck Williams' face that time when the shot went up, and you could almost see Buck say, we're starting to launch him from the outside now. So, you know, let's stay in what we're trying to do here. Stay in the offense, get some movement, and let's try and get the ball down inside a little bit.
That one of the Blazer problems in game 1 in Chicago. Traveling violation.
And Michael Jordan pointed over towards the Portland bench as if to say, don't let them call the game. You call the basketball game. Don't let them determine where the travel is.
Shuffle of the feet by Jordan. Robinson setting the picks, and Grant switches off to Drexler. And Pippen called for a hold. That is his third foul. It is a non-shooting foul. Bobby Hansen barreling off the bench to check in, not wasting any time on that dead ball, and he replaces Scottie Pippen. Hansen guarding Ainge. Once again, Grant switching to Drexler. Pass broken up by Jordan. Michael Jordan whipping off to John Paxson. He finds the open Hansen. That was stopped by Robinson, got a piece of it. Jordan on the recovery, 10 on the shot clock. Hansen is open. Yes, another 3 for Bobby Hansen. He did it in the third quarter in Chicago on Friday.
Think about that. You come off the bench, and all of a sudden, Michael Jordan throws you the basketball the first time and says, quick, shoot it, you're wide open. So you miss that one, but then Jordan comes back up with the rebound. They wind up swinging it around, and now they say, go ahead, now shoot a 3. You're not even warmed up yet, and then you knock it out.
An 8-0 run by the Bulls to stop the Portland drive. And Bobby Hansen, who is shooting just under 49%, just under 1 minute remaining in the third. Clyde Drexler will go to the foul line.
Well, the timeout called to set up a play where they could get the ball down low inside. Whether it's down low to one of your big people or whether it's down low to your 6'7" guard Drexler, it doesn't matter. The fact is that you get to stop the clock and put some points on the board. You get away from the perimeter shots, which allow Chicago to run out if you're not making. And at the half, Portland was shooting only 39%. So the attention to the inside game taken after the timeout by the Trailblazers.
Bill Cartwright just picked up his 4th, so he'll be replaced by Scott Williams.
Another factor for going down low inside. You put fouls on big people.
6 points for Cartwright. Clyde Drexler, who hit 10 of 10 from the line in game 2, has connected on 4 of 4 here this evening. 40 seconds to go in the third. Chicago with a 10-point lead. Jordan going left. Rebounded by Buck Williams. Michael has not been able to finish off thus far tonight's game.
I'm not sure Michael realized how open he was that time when he got to the rim. Probably felt Clyde was going to try and block it from behind, so didn't extend quite enough on the shot.
And that is a travel on Cliff Robinson.
When Jordan turns the corner, he's probably saying that Drexler's right behind me trying to block it. Clyde never went for the block. Jordan kept the arm down low on the release rather than extend up high.
17th turnover for Portland. Chicago with only 9. A.J. Armstrong has checked back in. Enos Watley on the floor.
And now Phil Jackson taking Jordan out of the spot of being a creator, perhaps concerned about the fatigue, the fact he's not finishing, as he just mentioned, and now that goes to Scottie Pippen to make something happen, whether they give him a screen or isolate and clear the side of the floor. Right now, the isolation.
Final seconds of the third. Pippen was stripped. So that's the end of the third quarter. It's the Bulls 70, the Blazers 60. We'll be back after these messages and a word from your local station. Fourth quarter is underway as Armstrong starts up against Watley. Armstrong and Hansen in the backcourt. Scott Williams with a pretty backdoor feed for Pippen.
One of the pressure releases. If you overplay and deny the entry passes to the wings, they'll flash a post man, hit him, and then run backdoor cuts. Chicago.
Watley got bottled up. Last touch by Hansen. Michael Jordan opening up on the bench, getting a respite. A very low-scoring third quarter. Chicago with 16 points. Portland with 15. The Bulls by 12. Ainge with the fadeaway. Just did get a piece of the rim.
Portland went to their passing motion game offense. The problem with that, if you wind up with 5 or 4 on the 24-second clock with an Ainge, he's not what you would call a real creator off the dribble. He winds up having to take a forced shot.
Shot clock at 5. Pippen. Rebounded by Duckworth. Kevin Duckworth back on the floor playing with 4 fouls. And Watley turned it over again. Here's Armstrong.
There you go.
And Rick Adelman is very upset. said, Enos Wadley has had trouble both times into the front court.
Yeah, but how do you know your teammate's going to run up behind you and kick the ball out of your hands?
They'll be right back. Consecutive title. In recognition of this memorable moment, Villa Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. That man, Rick Adelman, very apprehensive about the same occurring here against Portland with 3 straight at the Memorial Coliseum in Portland after getting the split. In Chicago, Cliff Robinson had that shot rejected. He is now 1 for 10.
And Rick Adelman had mentioned to us prior to the game again that he thought the 2-3-2 format of the playoffs really favored the team that has the 4 games. But now it was 1-1. He said, look, bottom line, you have to win 4 to win the championship. No matter where you do it, just go out and do it, play the game.
Scott Williams with the shot clock running down. But I don't think Rick wants to make too big a deal out of that point because that would not exactly be proper motivation for his ball club.
No, some things you just move on, move past because you know you can't do a whole lot about it. That's just the way it is.
Chicago has a 14-point lead. 2 minutes gone by in the 4th quarter. We're seeing the tip. The steal by Robinson.
Pippen was waiting on the sideline for Cartwright to throw the outlet pass. Bill just couldn't clear it, started to lose his balance, and figured rather than go down and be called for the travel, he'll take a shot at trying to kick it out. The travel would have been better. It wouldn't have been an easy score.
It's the type of play that could turn things around, and there's an offensive foul. It's on Pippen. That's number 4, charged to Pippen.
The offensive foul is called with the elbow as Pippen's going down. Kersey gets in his way, takes away the ability of Pippen to screen down. Pippen gets a little frustrated. As you see, he goes off the floor, frustrated again with Eddie Rush.
Outstanding game for Pippen, though. Sitting down after picking up his 4, while Jerome Kersey has struggled. That matchup has been all Scottie Pippen. Duckworth, made by Cartwright, who has 4. Make it number 5.
This is the toughest call to me in defending the post. When are you allowed to bump back when the big offensive player is trying to move you back in towards the basket? One guy bumps with his shoulder, the other responds with his chest. One bumps with his shoulder, the other responds with the chest. Tough call.
Here they go again. This time Duckworth able to convert off the fake. The Bulls lead 74-64.
Those calls are the ones that you have to rely on the judgment and experience of the official.
Kersey with the steal, and Mike Mathis with a tripping call. It's on Cartwright, so he's fouled out.
On the 6th foul, the coaching staff has time to make a decision as to who they would like to put in the basketball game. Phil Jackson trying to decide which would be the best matchup for him at this time of the game, and also planning the minutes. The trip taking place there as Cartwright sticks out the right foot after Kersey steals it and starts to take off on the fast break.
And this is the first time all season that Cartwright has fouled out. Departs with 6 points, 7 rebounds. Stacey King, who played briefly in the first half, has come on, replacing Cartwright. Duckworth, rebounded by Jordan.
They immediately went back to Duckworth against Williams on that matchup, and he had him down low, close to the basket. He just could not convert that time.
King surprised by the pass, but it's deflected out by Portland.
For Chicago, you have a tough unit on the floor as far as point productivity and cohesiveness. You got Hansen, who is now on his way out, with Pippen coming back in. I think Phil Jackson saw the same thing. Too many parts that normally aren't in there at critical times together, having to perform. King, Hansen, BJ, Williams, too much pressure, so he goes back with his other 2 main guys.
Stacey King going to the bucket. It will be Trailblazer possession.
The move doesn't matter. It's finishing that counts. You've got to have people on the floor that finish the plays and put the ball in the basket.
Kersey, played by Pippen. Duckworth now being guarded by King. Kersey, and rebounded by Williams. Pippen getting down. So the ball goes back to Portland. I mentioned earlier it was a very low-scoring third quarter. Well, it's a NBA final record. A total of only 31 points scored in the third, 16 by Chicago, 15 by Portland. The previous mark, 33 points in a Washington-Seattle NBA championship game back in May of '79. Foul committed by Scott Williams. That is his fourth.
What we could see develop here is the fact that Portland has made the decision they're going to continue to go down low to Duckworth. To compensate for that, they're hoping that Chicago will have to double team back down low to get the ball out of Duckworth's hands. Well, when that takes place, now you'll see Porter and Drexler get back behind the three-point line and start knocking down the three-pointers if they're wide open.
Horace Grant has come back, replacing Scott Williams. 7:20 to go in this fourth quarter. Here's Duckworth, blocked by Grant. Horace Grant had 5 blocked shots in game 2 on Friday. That's his second tonight.
This is the exact same rotation that Grant just did not quite get to at the end of game 2 when Duckworth knocked out that jumper to tie it in regulation time. This time he anticipated a little bit better, was a little bit closer, was able to get there.
Now Kersey operating against Grant, goes right at him and will go to the line.
Best way to go against shot blockers is take the ball and take it in their face. Don't leave that space or distance so that they can elevate and block it. Take it right up into their nose. Close down the amount of distance between the two bodies. Hope to draw the contact.
4 fouls apiece on Grant, Pippen, and Scott Williams. Bill Cartwright has already fouled out. Foul rundown for the Blazers. Duckworth is playing with 4. 3 apiece on Kersey, Buck Williams, Drexler, and Robinson. So Jerome Kersey hits the 2 after struggling at the line, and he's brought Portland with an 8.
Portland's defense is up now. They're up and extended, out pressuring much more than they had earlier in the game.
Outside official, Bill Oakes with the call. Timeout has been taken. Foul was called on Scott Williams. On Duckworth and Buck Williams. Bill Cartwright has fouled out at 4 on Pippen, 4 on Grant, and 4 on Scott Williams.
And a lot of pressure has been placed on Stacey King. They're using him right now to use up time on the clock, to take fouls when necessary, to fight off the assault by Duckworth down low against the basket, because what Phil Jackson wants to do is finish up the game with the front line of Williams, Grant, and Pippen. He's got to buy time to get to that point where he can ride those guys out.
B.J. Armstrong, an 81% free throw shooter, making his first appearance at the line in this series.
That was a very big drive by B.J. Armstrong with the score down to 8, the crowd in it. Rather than take a jumper, he took it to the basket, tried to stop the momentum by picking up points at the foul line.
And the Bulls are only 11 for 21 at the free throw line. That has hurt. Blazers battling back. They're down by only 8. 6:40 remaining in the fourth quarter. Chicago is led by as many as 15. Here's Drexler with a bad shot. And King gets to it. Armstrong. He had Jordan in front of him, took his eye off the ball and turned it over.
That's exactly what happened, because Michael Jordan was streaking down the right side, and B.J. anticipating the fact that he could lay it off to him on the bounce pass, took his eye off it. The quick outlet pass right about here is where he knows Michael's coming. There's where he lifts it because he wanted to pass. And now Phil Jackson sends John Paxson right to the table.
Clyde Drexler has missed his last 5 shots. Got off quickly. Overall, he's 8 for 16. And Stacey King gets Brooks for the rebound.
Stacey King doing some nice little things out there while he's on the floor, trying to buy this time. Comes up with a couple big rebounds, nice outlet pass, the small things.
There's Jordan. Oh. Michael's shot has been off. Duckworth, triple team, pops it out. Porter for three. And a loose ball foul called on Duckworth.
And that was one of those three-point opportunities that we talked about. If Duckworth could get the double team and could kick it out, you'd have either Porter or Drexler spotting up. Terry Porter just didn't knock that one out.
That number 5 on Duckworth.
Coming in from behind the backboard, he tries to throw King out of there to go to the basketball, but King did a very good job of maintaining body contact.
Pippen got the step. The Blazers have missed their last 6 field goal attempts. Drexler for the crossover and was fouled. Foul committed by Jordan. That is his first. And that is greeted by the sardonic roar of appreciation.
I was just going to ask you, did the crowd think he had 4 or 5 fouls on him? But no, a very, very basketball smart crowd here in Portland. These people appreciate the game. They know the game. And in fact, they appreciate the play of the visiting team as well as the home team throughout the entire season.
I would say they are the most compassionate crowd because in the introduction of the lineups, they applaud the visitors. Very kind. 24 for Drexler. Bulls with a 6-point lead. 5 minutes remaining in the fourth. Here's Jordan. Michael Jordan with 20. And he's given his club a 76-68 advantage.
And that time Michael knew he had turned the corner and made the strong extension and the layup.
Duckworth. And Mike Mathis says Chicago ball.
A little bit different from the first half when Jordan turned the corner and short on the layup attempt after he passed Drexler. This time he turns the corner on Buck, and now the concentration and explosion, and there's the strong extension for the 2.
Phil Jackson calling for a timeout. 4:44 remaining in the fourth.
Ask anyone.
Even though the ones people don't generally see to being at home.
When you're at home, what happens is your family, your friends, your well-wishers, your supporters, sometimes they don't realize they do more harm than good because they occupy so much of your time. They don't give you a chance to have that peace, and Scottie Pippen cannot get the ball inbounds, so quickly calls for the timeout rather than have the turnover take place. Phil Jackson telling his players, you must come back to the basketball. Don't just leave Scottie standing there out of bounds with no outlets.
Back to the road story for Chicago. They are an excellent ball club, a team that won 67 games during the regular season, and they had the best road record in the league. And they fared so well on the road and did not have as an effective a home season as they normally do.
And we just saw after the timeout, we saw Jackson talking to Grant in the timeout. Grant was the outlet pass to get the ball inbounds.
Michael Jordan. Rebound, Stacey King. King with the box out. He was being played by Porter, who was caught on a switch.
Porter was supposed to rotate down from out high and try to cut off King. He never quite got there in time, could not get inside the big body of King.
Same situation as Friday night in Chicago. As we come up on 4 minutes, a 10-point lead for the Bulls. On Friday night, Portland able to turn it around and come from 10 down to pull it out in overtime.
When you're 10 down, you don't want to take a wild and crazy shot like Kersey just wound up taking. Be patient, take your time, get a good shot.
Stacey King did not like that hard hit from Jerome Kersey. And the foul was called on Kevin Duckworth, so he is fouled out.
Sometimes when you're frustrated as a player, you're not getting your shots to go down, you're trying to find a way to score, you get out of what you need to do to try and get back in the basketball game. With 4 minutes remaining and a 10-point score, this Portland team knows, they did it the other night, that they can still win a basketball game, but you have to get high percentage shots, good shots at the basket.
And Danny Ainge, the man who helped rescue the Trailblazers in Game 2, has checked in. Stacey King, a 75% free throw shooter.
And you now have 3 three-point shooters on the floor for the Portland Trailblazers. So if Chicago decides to go back and double down low with some ball movement, you have a chance to pick up some extra points with three-point shots if that's the way you want to go.
Stacey King coming on for Bill Cartwright, who had fouled out, has done a nice job. Chicago and Portland each have 3 timeouts remaining. They've used their 20s. Ainge for 3. And he was open. Rebound comes to Kersey. The Bulls by 10 with 3.5 remaining in the 4th. Game 3 of the best of 7. The series tied at 1. Game 4 here in Portland on Wednesday. We'll have it for you on NBC starting at 9 Eastern Time, 6 o'clock on the Pacific Coast. And Stacey King, who is a strong post-up player, able to hit his 3rd field goal. He has 8 points.
You let Stacey King get that low on the right block, and a steal by Paxson as he stepped up in the passing lane.
John Paxson with the steal, providing a 14-point Chicago lead, and Rick Adelman takes a timeout.
Shooting the passing lane, normally associated with Pippen or Jordan. This time it happens to be John Paxson who makes the big defensive play for the Chicago Bulls.
The Bulls with a 10-2 run.
Come on, let me show you.
Able to replace Stacey King, but happenstance has it that the ball winds up going into King, who makes his nice low post move. If you let him to the middle with his left hand and this close to the rim, he's going to produce. So when he winds up going over to the bench, who's the happiest guy there? The guy that was supposed to go in and take his place? Scott Williams comes over to congratulate Stacey King.
At the start of the season, Stacey King was the starter at center with Bill Cartwright out with that broken left hand, and he had some strong games. Will that count? Yes, it does. It's a goaltend. No, wait a moment. One official said yes, and the other said no. It is just a foul. It is waved off. The foul committed by Jordan.
And the Trailblazers wanted the call because the ball hit the backboard, but you can block it to the backboard. You're allowed to do that. If it's on the glass and you touch it, no good. But there, the ball was blocked into the glass.
The Bulls 84 and the Trailblazers 71 with 2:47 remaining in this 4th quarter. So no goaltending. Drexler hitting both foul shots. 8 for 8 from the line. He has 26 points. Chicago with a 12-point lead.
A little half-court trap trying to make Chicago take a forced or hurried shot, but too much poise by Paxson that time.
And Jordan was hit. Michael Jordan to the line for the first time tonight. Drexler called for his 4th. And while we have an opportunity here with Michael Jordan going to the line, we'd like to wish our NBC Sports colleague Bill Parcells the very best. Bill recovering from heart bypass surgery, and we're told coming along very well. Bill, as you know, is an avid basketball fan, although he did tell me privately that you have been getting on his nerves.
He also told me, by the way, that he has stumped you quite a few times in trivia questions dealing with NBA players, statistics, past games.
Goes back to early 50s. After that, there seems to be a block in his head. It all comes out as football for some reason. The steal by Paxson. And last touched by the Trailblazers. Ball knocked out of bounds.
You cannot get careless against this Chicago team. One hand on the ball inbounds. If you put one hand on the basketball when you're passing it in, if you try to bring it back, it's very hard to draw it back again.
2:25 remaining in this 4th quarter. And the Bulls playing with the clock a bit. Paxson for three. Terry Porter. Here's Danny Ainge for three. Drexler. And Drexler will go to the line.
Michael Jordan,
Now committed by Jordan. That is his third.
That little conversation there between Jordan and Buck Williams goes back to the last time down the floor for Chicago when Jordan penetrated to the basket and passed off. While he was in the air, Buck gave him a nice little shot, a little message, reminding him, don't come down here driving the lane trying to get in my territory. Here's the penetration on the pass off. After it, bang, right there. Michael didn't appreciate that one too much.
Mike, you look back to what took place Friday night in Chicago with Portland coming from 10 down. Unbelievably, they scored on 16 of their last 17 possessions.
Tex Winter, the assistant coach for the Chicago Bulls, charts possessions for the other team, and that is obviously a very, very high statistic.
Shot clock at 5. Down to 3. Here's Jordan. Kersey thought he had to move on the open floor, but Paxson got back.
Excellent job of transition defense by Chicago.
Drexler. So the Bulls now lead 86-76 with a minute 24 remaining. And the fourth quarter, Clyde Drexler has 30. He is the high man. And once again, they spread it out. Well, Scott Williams and Michael Jordan learning the spread of the four corners from Dean Smith at North Carolina. Grant wide open.
Jerome Kersey just left his man, ran across the floor, extended all the way out 22, 24 feet from the basket, a double team. Nobody rotated to protect the rim.
Timeout called by the Blazers with a minute 6 to go. Game number 1, which ended up in a blowout for Chicago. Here's Porter. Rebounded by Kersey. And the Portland shooting tonight has been very poor. They have had long drought periods. On a couple occasions, they missed 7 in a row. They see 36% for the game. The Bulls at 47. Buck Williams called for his 5th. Now, Portland scored 26 points in the first quarter. Since then, second quarter, 19. Third quarter, an NBA final record low with the two teams combining for 31 points. Portland had 15. Fourth quarter, the Blazers have managed only 16 points. So, on a night that has seen Michael Jordan have just an ordinary performance, the Bulls have gotten help from other quarters. Scottie Pippen, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Horace Grant, 18 points, 8 rebounds. Stacey King off the bench, 8 points, did a nice job. Same for Scott Williams, who once again contributed. 45 seconds remaining of the fourth quarter. Drexler is fouled.
Michael Jordan's foul.
Foul committed by Jordan.
And who knows, as Paxson mentioned before about playing on the road versus at home, here the Trailblazer team, they were away, okay, quite a few days from home in Chicago playing the first 2 games. Suddenly they come home, land at 3:15, 3:30 in the morning after winning game number 2. Basically only have a very short number of hours before they have to return to play game 3 here this afternoon. And a lot of catching up to do, a lot of people making phone calls. Did it break concentration? Did it have an effect emotionally on them being ready for this game?
Don't you think that's a reach there? It's rationalizing after the fact. Something you might tell one of your ball clubs after a loss. We're down to a half-minute remaining in this fourth quarter, and the Bulls lead by 12.
I'm glad to know you got a little chuckle out of, yes, you know.
And Pippen will throw in. So many things are said after games are lost. Jordan. What it comes down to is Chicago severely outplayed Portland tonight. And they now lead 92-78. Ainge. And put home by Kersey. So the Bulls lead by 12. And they go back to Portland. Crowd enjoyed that turnover. The Chicago Bulls on their way to going up 2-1 in this best of 7 with game number 4 Wednesday night here in Portland. Rebounded by Buck Williams. Ainge. 92-82. 7 seconds remaining. And Paxson was checked by Kersey. So John Paxson to the free throw line. Wednesday night, game number 4, 9 o'clock Eastern time on NBC, 6 o'clock on the West Coast. Chicago and Portland. So the Bulls, although as we mentioned earlier, appear to be emotionally down, very upset about letting game 2 slip away, able to bounce back in very solid fashion here tonight. 94-82. As Ainge works his way down. And that will do it. The Chicago Bulls have defeated the Portland Trailblazers by the score of 94-84. Portland shot only 26 of 78, 36% from the field.
Well, shot selection is one of the things, and then not too many turnovers forced by the Trailblazer defense. Those opportunities enable them to get out in the open floor and then do their transition game thing, which is one of their strong points for this basketball team.
Clyde Drexler, the high point man of the game, with 32. Michael Jordan had 26, 18 apiece for Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant. Again, the final, Chicago 94, Portland 84. Join us Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern for Game 4. In Buckner, I'm Marv Albert. This has been a presentation of the NBA on NBC.